Hi, this is Svenja and today you will start to sweep. Sweep picking is a technique many rock and metal guitarists want to learn. Of course, it's really cool to sweep over chords on all 6 strings as fast as possible. With patience and focused practice, you can learn this too. The difficulty with sweep picking is that you only play 1 note per string. This means that you have to fret the open string as short, fast and clean as possible and let go as soon as you play the next string. The notes shouldn't ring into each other because this is what you don't want to hear. Your sweeping also shouldn't sound staccato. So you need a good finger independence of your fretting hand and precise and clean playing. Of course, like with everything in music, you also need a good timing. You mostly sweep over arpeggios. To get confident with the movement of your fretting and picking hand, you should start practicing this technique only on the 3 higher strings. Boring. Of course, it sounds much cooler to play over all 6 strings, but you also want it to sound good, don't you? Therefore, you have to work on a solid technique and start simple to improve yourself and play more complicated stuff over time. Today you learn arpeggio pattern on the higher 3 strings: major, minor and diminished arpeggios. We start with the major arpeggio. Here I play an E major arpeggio, but when you're practicing sweeping, you should move this shape around the fretboard and also play other chords. Start practicing this pattern at a low speed. You can first play alternate picking to focus on your fretting hand. As soon as you're able to play this pattern properly, you can start sweeping. When you're sweep picking, you make 1 down and 1 up stroke over all strings, which means you don't repeat the movement for every string. Of course, you have to synchronize the tempo of your picking hand with your fretting hand and the metronome. When you make the downstroke, it's easier when you don't hold the pick parallel to the strings, but change the angle a bit. So, the tip of your pick shows to your face when you make the downstroke, and when you make the upstroke, the tip of your pick shows to the floor. This way, you're able to move smoothly over the strings. Try out how you have to hold the pick and how far you should change the angle. When you're sweep picking, the movement comes from your arm and not from your wrist. This can be really exhausting for your shoulder, so make breaks every now and then and don't overdo it. For the arpeggio, you start the downstroke from the G string and go over to the higher E string. Here, you make an hammer on and pull off with your pinky in the 7th fret as soon as you made the downstroke, and while you make the hammer on and pull off, you make an upstroke in direction of the B string to be in position for the upstroke as soon as you fret the B string in the 5th fret. Then you make an upstroke up to the G string, and let the G string ring for an 8th note before you start this pattern from the beginning. When you play with a lot of gain, you should use a fret whip. Of course, a sock around the guitar neck in the 1st fret is also enough. This way you avoid that the strings you don't play begin to ring and that the noise builds up. In addition, you can use the palm of your picking hand to mute the lower strings by putting it in front of the bridge. Of course, you won't be able to avoid all backhorn noises, but at least most of them. For the diminished arpeggio, we move the index in the 3rd fret of the G string. On the high E string, we make the hammer on and pull off with the pinky in the 6th instead of the 7th fret. The last arpeggio is an E minor 7 arpeggio, which is based on the E minor bar chord on the A string. So you begin on the G string in the 9th fret, go over to the B string in the 8th fret, and on the higher E string in the 7th fret, and there you make a hammer on and pull off with your pinky in the 10th fret. As mentioned before, move these arpeggios over the fretboard when you're practicing sweeping and start at a low speed. 60 beats per minute are slowly enough in most cases, but of course you can also set your metronome to a lower tempo. The most important thing is that you are able to play clean and in time. Your speed will increase automatically over time. In any case, with these exercises you have a solid foundation for sweep picking. As always, I'd much appreciate it if you give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Now I'd like to thank you for watching, and until next time, keep grooving.